This is what nobody talks about the GTA 6 release date.
Sort of compromised state, even if it's at the last minute. He said if it comes to like October and the game is not 100% ready, they would suspect they would rather it slip than release. But they do have a little bit of extra flexibility when it comes to releasing the game within the same fiscal year, because that's what a lot of game developers care about.
Told us not to.
Yeah, I mean, this is how Rockstar works, or at least has worked in recent decades, I suppose. In the last decade with Red Dead 2, if you look at the history there, they announced it for fall 2017, then it slipped to spring 2018, and then it slipped again to fall 2018.
A lot of people are speculating if GTA 6 will get delayed. We have to talk about the previous delay that we saw and why the delays are actually happening. I'm your host. Be sure to smash that like button. But Rockstar Games are way ahead of everyone. Evidence from GTA 6 trailer include that GTA 6 will have multiple things such as 3D road reflectors. These are fully model assets rather than flat textures. Glass fragmentation. The shattering effect follows realistic physical patterns. Again, everything is made by professionals and everything is done according to plan. Some of these things could be over €1 million just to make, or $2 million just to make glass shatter. This is really expensive process, especially animation is something that is expensive both in movies, series, and especially games. Now, fire effects, the fire, smoke, and rendering looks like real-world chemical reaction. It could be something that's going to be shown off in the missions, and it could be something way more important that we see. But a lot of people have been asking, is GTA 6 going to be delayed again? And just recently, we have found out that GTA 6 is not going to be delayed and it's on schedule because it's been delayed about 2 times at this point. So I am really, really excited to see what is happening with GTA 6. But Reese Rayleigh says no more delays at Rockstar in a final
episode
stretch,
talking about their most anticipated video games of 2026. And Bloomberg reporter Jason Schreier was one of the guests. So if you'd like to listen to the entire thing for yourself, it's an hour and 42 minutes long, but I want to just go over where Jason Schreier essentially talks about the Grand Theft Auto 6 highlights of this. So take a listen to this right now, and then we'll come back to discuss.
So I figured we could start with some big questions before we get to our categories and our picks for the games that we're most excited about. We thought it was then, except that we didn't actually believe that because you had told us not to.
Yeah, I mean, this is how Rockstar works, or at least has worked in recent decades, I suppose. In the last decade with Red Dead 2, if you look at the history there, they announced it for fall 2017, then it slipped to spring 2018, and then it slipped again to fall 2018, and there it landed October of that year. So I wouldn't be super shocked if that is what happens again this time around. This is a big and complicated game, and the last I heard, it was still not content complete. That is to say that people were still finishing things up, still finalizing levels and missions and seeing what's going to make it into the game. Typically, the way that game development works, you have your feature complete, your content complete, your bug testing phases, and there's a lot of kind of boundaries blurred along the way in all of those different stages. But they are still making stuff, and we'll hopefully be done with that soon and just have a whole bunch of time for fixing bugs. But even during those phases, there's always someone who wants to sneak in some last minute stuff. So it's really hard to say. In other words, it's really hard to say right now. And I don't think anyone at Rockstar could tell you with 100% certainty that they will make it out in November. But I think like this might be a little bit more solid. But it's game development, right? It's so complicated. And with a game like this, the stakes are so high. They really can't settle for anything less than perfection with this release because there's so much riding on it. The entire Like the stock of Take-Two lives or dies on this game. Every time this game slips, their shares drop 10%, I should say. So yeah, it's not something that they will release in any sort of compromised state. So even if it comes to like October and they're like, the game is not 100% ready, I suspect they would rather slip than release it. And then one more thing I'll say is that their fiscal year, which is when they handle all their financial reporting. That's kind of the most important part of the way that scheduling works in the finance world, is they all pay attention to fiscal years. Their fiscal year ends at the end of March, so they do have a little bit of buffer. Obviously, they would want to be out for the holiday season and Black Friday and all the beautiful Christmas sales that they always do. But I think they have a little bit of buffer to next March if they still want to release the game within the fiscal year. So it does give them a little bit of breathing room.
So I know that was a lot, so let's recap. So I know the thing that people are going to gravitate towards is he kind of says the game could be delayed again when he says, I wouldn't be super shocked if that's what happens again this time around. But I don't necessarily think he's saying that GTA 6 is going to be delayed again. In fact, we'll talk about some follow-up comments he made, but he did say that the game is big and complicated, and last he heard, it was still not content complete. They're still finishing things up, finalizing levels and missions, figuring out what's going to make its way into the game, seeing if stuff gets put in at the last minute. And he says because of that, he doesn't think anyone in Rockstar could tell you with 100% certainty that the game is going to make it out in November, but he does say that this release date...
know that he's one of the people that said the game won't release on May 26, few weeks pre-delay announcement in November 2025. So I think it's very important to say that a lot of people were expecting GTA, to release on May, but now we finally have more updates on exactly what they were working on. Seems like the game itself, the missions are mostly done. The leaks we had a year ago, or actually 2 years ago, they really showed us what's possible on concept, but they were really early builds, like 2022, 2023. They were not the latest versions. They were just versions that leaked online. And I feel like it's pretty important to note that GTA 6 right now is way, way more confident to be designed in the way it should be, as I want to show you guys here. There's used car dealerships, there's 3D road reflections, there's something that the PlayStation 3 could not do and the PS5 Pro can. And I think it's very important to note here that GTA 6 right now is definitely going to be the biggest game we have ever seen. I'll keep you guys updated with more news, but I think it's also fair to assume, because, we saw what Red Dead Redemption 2 was, and it still ages well. GTA 6 is like 7 years later, and it's 3 times the budget. It's a bigger IP. So you kind of have an idea of what's going on, how many details there are in GTA 6 right now that you might have